To work, man. It's very important to understand. As far as evolution goes, man, let's not worry about that. Let's just be good people. You know, let's not worry about if a dog is evolving into your cousin, right? Or a chimpanzee. He's already your uncle. We just haven't figured it out yet, right? So let's not worry about evolution. That takes care of itself, right? Relativity, that's something we should probably be a little bit more concerned about, how we affect one another, how our thoughts, words, and actions affect one another and affect the planet and what's happening with the planet. So we can better pay attention to evolution. That's sarcasm, but you know what I'm saying. Las Cruces, New Mexico. Yeah, most y'all don't know about, you know, New Mexico State Aggies because we only went to the Final Four once, and our football program is, that's supposed to be the most lucrative part, and it's not as successful as we're right there with UTEP, pretty much. What? But our basketball program, yeah, our basketball program pretty good. It almost killed itself a couple of years ago because of economic stupidity instead of listening to me. But that's just about everything within close proximity to me, right? So But you guys just got to understand, I live in Las Cruces, New Mexico, and this is a ginormous cyberspace ego trap. It's discussed in just about every religion on the face of the planet. That's if women can't survive, if men can stay alive, if man is still alive, and if women can't survive. Right? So, howdy ho, gonna get me a place to, I don't know. Kokomo. Is it Cucamonga? Where's Kokomo? Is that in Florida? Cucamonga is in California, right? Okay. Those things are ridiculous, man. I'm watching those Family Feud thing. Obscenity for charity. Verily I say to you, when you're here. So don't do like the hypocrite and the heathen do. They'll get their rewards from men, right? And then there's when you pray, do it in private, and your Father sees in private, will reward you openly, and you will be the standard of all male human behavior. So women and children can love in peace and not do things that are aggressive, narcissistic, violent, selfish, uncouth, inventing laws to spy on people's domiciles and manipulate them with human invention and sexually exploit them and abuse them, like what we have now, right? Here in the middle of the LCNM, ginormous cyberspace ego trap. Pow pow, And the thing is, Rockefeller and Rothschild told them, okay? I'm certain they did before they even took me to Sierra Vista to challenge, This isn't fucking L. Ron Hubbard's imagination. Okay? We've tortured this guy all the shit and back and tried to turn him into a bad person all the way from his childhood and adolescence, all the way through junior high and high school, all the way through the military, college, mean, vicious, try to kill you because she goes through PTSD, lesbian wife, that was trying to show up her cousin who gets everything and is everything and she's all that, and Marsha, Yolanda, It wasn't like that with Yolanda. Yolanda wasn't a bad girl. She's a kind girl at heart. She came from very good grandparents, especially on her father's side. The female side, the dad was trying to protect the mother from the men in her tribe that are aggressive and violent. And she wasn't having it. And it was, a lot like, Roosevelt came from people that are very protecting. And he was a mechanic for fighter jets, but he didn't use them to kill people. He just kept them ready to go so people could protect people with them. Roosevelt Gilyard ain't fucking Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise is an asshole. Roosevelt Gilyard is the guy that made sure that Tom Cruise could go be an asshole, even though all the politicians and the scientists and all that would tell themselves and Tom Cruise, you're not an asshole. No, you'll kill people for money. You're a fucking saint. So you gotta let people know, about themselves. But like James Cleveland always says, you find people ain't down with it when you give them the lowdown on themselves. But that don't matter. Truth is truth and lies lie. And if people go around telling themselves lies and believing they lies and telling other people those lies, and those other people are selfish and believe they lies, and that's fucked, and we can't live that. That's not love, right? And we have people always say, this is not love. Okay, there's a bunch of egomaniacs, all right, doing things for money because they sick. Okay, do you understand? That's what that is. Okay, we don't need a bunch of supermodels. We have had enough supermodels. Okay, singing in their bedroom voice about love for more money. Okay, they don't know what love is. They totally deny a living Christ. They did it during Haile Selassie's time. They do it during early Bertie Parsons' time. They did it back in the day when Jesus was alive. He ain't physically living there no more, because that time keeps flowing like a river to the sea. All y'all in Parsons Projects people out there. And so that river has been washed away by time, right? And that's no longer called Judea. And the assholes that came and mass murdered if you didn't elect to live their republic that they invented on pieces of paper with a bunch of assholes with ego problems, but we still doing that, right? Europa. But you all still doing it. Now I've been the living embodiment for Lord's Prayer pretty much all my physical existence. And then I felt like, okay, I have to do this. Eventually they will change. Eventually they'll get better. And that was always my thought process, But the thing is that's not true. And Jesus tells me that, he's told me that numerous times. Okay. He's told me that numerous times. That, when someone is faithful and persistent, that's eternity. And when someone is faithful and persistent throughout eternity, okay, all the people that are selfish and want it to all be about them, okay, instead of learn from their mistakes by someone else's example and not their own, instead of appreciate him for enlightening, everybody to their selfishness and the mistakes that come from their selfishness, they murder him and then choose to turn him into something that does not exist, that came from their brain, that replaces Earl with Shazam! And you're like, fuck. Really? Okay. I'm an omnipotent, omnipotent asshole who watches people murder each other over invention because I gave them free will to do so. And one day, when I've had enough, I'm going to come down from the clouds. And I'm going to eternally turn all the assholes who invented me into this psychotic moron into eternal psychotic morons with me. And all the people that didn't accept me as head sexy psychotic moron are going to be tortured in my ego till the end of time. Because I'm omniscient, omnipotent. Then how can you do it till the end of time? Shut up. It's not supposed to make sense. It's just supposed to make sense to somebody who's got ego problems. You're funny. Wow, look, ego problems. Look at all the ego problems. I've got ego problems. I know you do. You will never see me dance like that. I do not do all this stuff. I don't do all this stuff. No. I'm a man. You ever seen me do a dance with a pit bull in the middle of Doñana Road? That's how Earl dances. Okay. He kind of crouches, get down low. I don't do all the wasabi. When things are certain things like, Suzuki, I was watching the little Tai Chi things with the little old Tai Chi ladies. And I was like, but Suzuki already told me to do that. We already talked about that at the beginning of the summer. When I was trying to talk Emily into doing chair exercises with her mom so you can do it more comfortably and then recover your muscle memory. Yeah. Yeah, I don't have to go online and say, we're going to learn how to get rock hard. I just go, Suzuki, what do I do? Okay, thanks. You're the best, man. I love you too. Just, Yeah, no, he had me doing this thing where it's like marching. You walk and you bring this elbow down to this knee, okay? And if that gets uncomfortable, you can use your hand, depending on how much they chemically poison you and how much they Wi-Fi fuck you while you try to what most people refer to as sleep, right? So they're pathetic. I know. As far I don't think. I don't know if it'll ever be tangible or possible for the people that are truly selfish and pathetic to ever admit that they are. I don't know. I'm not an omniscient, omnipotent God. Okay, so nor do I claim to be. As far as perfect, like Job and Jonah, yes. Oh yeah. You got to understand, Bob is using the word perfect in the technical terms given to him by scientists like Richard Feynman and Stephen Hawking. So when he says, I know that I'm not perfect and I don't claim to be, he's saying I don't claim to be an omniscient, omnipotent God. He's not saying I don't claim to be like someone who can understand Job and Jonah and be that's Mel Blount. That's Mel Blount. In his little gold jacket from Canton, Ohio. Was Rocky from Canton or Dayton? I can't remember now. Yeah. I think it was Dayton, yo. Yeah, so my rock hell. Yeah. And we ain't talked in shit. Facebook, it was like shit. It was after the kids was gone, and I think the last time I talked to Raquel Sally was like 2016. And it was a difficult conversation. She was kind of condescending and rude and obnoxious to me. Because when people are monitoring your conversations and they're analyzed for validity, people get mad at you for talking to them because they want you to just say what I want you to say. And then it'll make me feel better. Yeah, but it ain't going to make you look better. Well, because life's eternal and grace is infinite, and they're collecting all the evidence of relative interactive thoughts, words, and actions. Okay. Yeah, you guys have no idea how quantum computing and artificial general intelligence works, do you? You don't even have a damn clue, do you? I don't even think the people that made it do. I don't. No. I think they know, but they really don't. Well, because you're talking about people that are still using technology to manipulate people with money. Okay? And if you were an intelligent person, you would not do that, right? You would use technology to communicate intelligently so you could start restoring your planet and help your species maintain your planet so they wouldn't put it, at risk of having to put their brain on a robot to see if the cats in New York develop a way to fly like Rocket the J Squirrel to kill all the rats, right? Come on now. Oh, okay. I was wondering how this was broken up into. Never mind. It's AFC versus NFC. That's Isaac Bruce. He used to play for the Rams there in St. Louis. He didn't play for him in LA. He played in St. Louis. They meet me in St. Louis. I'm thinking I know most. I know Terrell Suggs, he's from Phoenix area. And then that's Rodney Harrison, right? And Ray Lewis, of course. And then, of course, we all know that's who I always put in the slot to beat Ahmadib, right? So what are you doing? I just moved Heinz Ward to the slot instead of Whiteout. I took who was it back then? The kid from the University of Indiana that played quarterback. I can't remember his name. But yeah, I put him and moved him to wideout with, I think, like Plexico or somebody, whoever else was out there. Had them at wideout, and I put Heinz Ward in the slot, and I was killing him because linebackers just couldn't cover him. He's like, what are you doing? I just did a position change. Just switched part of my depth chart. Was that easy? Yeah. It was just, And then they were worried about the slot with linebackers, and then Bus was going over the right side, and I could get 5 yards of carry pretty easy. So that wasn't too hard. So it kept all my stuff manageable. I had Big Ben Blocklisberger, and and then he put Amandeep Parhar in, who was 99 in all aspects, and I couldn't stop him, so he beat me. I just laughed. No, but he's, what are you doing? No, it's just real simple. You just got to look at your lineup and put your people in positions to where you have advantages. and they have a disadvantage in trying to cover it. It's AI. What you do then is you just sit there and you try to, okay, I'll put this, that, there. But then if he puts somebody in the slot that can cover him, then Hines is a good blocker. And I think he was on the video game too. So I'll just run behind that side and have the bus run over his defensive back that's covering Hines Ward. Just do that. It's interesting, but you got to understand though, it's a video game, so it's not going to really work the way real life works. So it never does. It's not going to work. No, and then not even if you're playing Quidditch. Okay, because you can't play Quidditch in real life. It's using their imagination. It's Willy Wonka and the Oompa Loompas have taken over the world, and they home invade, and they got ego problems, and then they hang out with all the jocks, get out ego problems. They want to be a better jock than you, but you're not. They want to be a better scientist than you. It's like, but you're not. Then they want to make everybody believe because they're great jocks and great scientists, but they're not, that they're a better person than you. Can AI help you be a better mom or dad? Duh. Okay, put the thing on there and start singing First Time I Ever Saw Your Face. Come on, do it. You don't need money to live here. So if I sing The First Time I Ever Saw Your Face, you can record it and share it with your wife and kids, and then stay home and not have to get on an airplane and go fuck around on the person you call spouse. Did she sign a prenup? If you don't, if you have a relative in your family named Diana, she's going to scream and yell at you till you do. She's the boss. She's watching cartoons in the living room. You guys all go watch the Super Bowl in the bedroom. You're funny. I know. And then there's this Tallarico kid sitting there talking about, I debate with idiots about how to make the torture of people that are being oppressed by our delusions of human and power authority more livable. Livable? Yeah, a living wage. Okay. How do you live? By share, care, given accordance to need, built to last. Okay. Now, you do know that artificial general intelligence and quantum computing have access to Psalms and Proverbs. They already had access to the real translations before they even took Parsons to Sierra Vista, Arizona in October 2006. Yeah. You know what that means? You have to meet Kathy Bates. Okay, Earl. You're a helix on an axis. Okay, it's funny. Okay. So, yeah. You have to meet Kathy Bates. Where are you going to meet her? In a hot tub. And driven there in a Winnebago. And then you're going to go see the biggest bull of yarn or something in Nebraska or something like that. That's about Schmidt. Yeah, I know. Okay, guys. But, son of a bitch. Wait till they get a load of me. Princey's freaking honor, which is a freaking Eastwick, acting my guts out for you in that one. St. Nicholson and Pat limo driven by with the Lakers and Pat Riley, their coach. Stupid Bob Rivers comedy guy. My Yolanda loved that thing. I've got her a copy of it. Thank you. This is the funniest Christmas album. Yeah, Tom really loves it. She loved Tom. He came here a ignorant Wyoming bigot. He came to Phoenix that way. And then that one day changed his whole life when he was sitting there and he got that magazine, he was looking at Buddy and said, there was, it was Grace Jones and Dolph Lundgren. I hate when they do that fucking shit. Blah, 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 blah. He looked at Buddy and Buddy's sitting there shitting his pants. And then Buddy goes, you haven't met Earl's Rocky yet? It's like, what? Yeah, Earl's girlfriend is a full-figured, vivacious black girl. Okay. And Tom's sitting there and he's shitting his pants going, oh, fuck, this guy can get me fired. And he sits there and he says, I ain't worried about it, man. Everybody's entitled to an opinion no matter how stupid it is. And I just walked out into the thing and kept doing my work. And Tom followed me around the store. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. Blah, 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 blah. I'm the new assistant manager. I'm just got assigned here. I can't afford to. I have a girlfriend and I can't afford to get fired and all that. I says, Tom, don't worry about it. I ain't gonna take away your ability to pay your rent and feed you and your girl because you have bad judgments or opinions. You know, just as long as you keep them to yourself, you know, and you don't abuse nobody about it, that's good to go. After that, he just like freaked. Then he became one of my best friends. Totally changed as a human being. Somebody had him by the balls and could have abused him, and he said, I own you now, I own you. And I didn't. I said, don't worry about it. I ain't gonna do nothing. You know, I ain't gonna do nothing to I ain't gonna do nothing to hurt you and your girl. I ain't gonna do nothing to put you all out in the street. Okay. That is not my way. Okay. I am not like that. And then when I was dating Law, invited us over to Kelly's, and me and Kelly were both like, what? They were talking about, we were watching a football game, and they were talking about professional wrestling. Me and Kelly are like, you do know that's a soap opera for dudes, right? And Law and Tom are like, oh, and when Blow Blow starts Blow Blow, and then he takes him and blah, blah, blahs him and suplexes him, and yeah, you know. And me and Kelly are like rolling our eyes like, we tolerate these two, don't we? Yeah. Kelly was a sweetheart. Kelly was a short, little, compact blonde. It was a real sweetheart. Loved her Tom. And Tom talked to me about it. He always confided in me. He goes, it's really hard. She was sexually abused as a child. And a lot of times she has trouble enjoying sex. And she gets real quiet and it hurts. And she rolls up and she cries. And all you can do is just kind of tell her, you know, I'm sorry for what happened. And let's do everything we can to make it all right, you know. And so you can see why she loved her Tom. He had things about him that were dumb as Wyoming, dumb fuck, Wyoming, dumb fuck as could be. And trust me, Wyoming has a lot of backwards ways that are Wyoming dumb fuck and dumb as Wyoming dumb fuck can be. I've lived there twice. Yeah. The Cowboy State. Mm-hmm. The Brokeback Mountain State. Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jeff Donelon, Wyoming. Wyoming homosexual in denial that got drunk all the time and almost burnt down every building he ever lived in. Yeah, it was really tough. Yeah, it was, good God. Yeah, I've been put with some of the most difficult psychological challenges, and most of the time, you know, when I was in them, I would, you know, Jesus would tell me, you know, you have to, you know, no, Adam and Eve told me I had to marry Stephanie, that it was very important to help, you know, marriage and children and stop tribalism, and you know the having a child through this marriage was very important to the world. You know, I didn't know. I did know. I knew. Yeah, because I always would sit and write notebooks to Patrick about what was going on, and all the songs that reminded us together, and the songs that I wrote down for him and think of him were, you know, Time in a Bottle and Bookends and Old Friends and Sun Will Shine by the Bee Gees and stuff like that. So I always knew, you know, that me and him, and then his favorite Labor of Love too, you know, stuff. So I always knew that me and him were being tortured, and that the torture was going to be insidious, and it was going to go way into his adulthood and into my heading towards grandfather type age and stuff. So I always knew, you know, and then people, why did you do it? Because Adam and Eve told me it was important and I needed to do it. And if you don't have the same hope, dreams, and aspirations for everybody's children as you do your own, you're a failure as a human being, right? And life is eternal and grace is infinite. Truth is truth and lie is lie. And people having to spend their large portions of their lives in offices doing things for extortion and exploitation and feel like that their job gives their life meaning and their job makes the world a better place. That's wrong to do, okay? You know how wrong that is? Okay. The world has everything it needs for it to be a good place for good people to live good lives, okay? It does not require an egotistical expression of all the egomaniacs in the world that are going to save the world from egomania, right? That's ridiculous. It's insane, right? But for some reason, all the assholes in the world seem to agree that that's what Adam, Moses, David, Jesus, John, and everybody else was saying. Confucius was saying. Krishna and Siddhartha were saying. The swordsman of the Japan keeps saying. Through video game development. Yeah. I was watching these kiddos that I used to spend a lot of time watching them do their video game torture, you know. And I'm sitting there going, God, all I got is this game that irritates the hell out of me. Which they all started on that game, but it was done by Revamped with a bunch of military developers that are perverts that invaded my house and were part of the sexual abuse of my spouse and it affecting their kids. And saying, you're not this great, gracious, good shepherd because you couldn't understand it, recognize it, and or stop it. It's like, what are you talking about? When everybody in Sierra Vista came and told me what was going on, who's the only guy that was ever in the U.S. military that went online all by himself to put an end to it? You people in the military, you say I have no discipline. You'll kill people for money, and I won't. You say I have no discipline. Don't judge me or I'll analyze you. It looks like I just did, right? Yeah. Rockefeller and Rothschild knew. This kid ain't going to give in. He's not going to be like these assholes. Okay? And he's going to kick the crap out of them. Because he loves children. And he will not accept abuse as truth. And he will not accept prostitution and propaganda as love. Well, he'll kick the living shit out of you. Okay. It's Christ colonic. It works. Like, Jesus told me at the library, beat the hell out of them. Well, that applies in physics. Okay. Every time they get up, I need more money. Bam! You need what? I need to submit to the Lord's Prayer and love one another, eternal faithful peace. That's more like it. Why'd you have to knock my teeth out? So you wouldn't be smiling every time you need money, motherfucker. Girl. Every time you say that. So, you know what I'm saying? I've been saying it for a long time. So Earl gets grumpy. Yeah, let Amy sit there and remember Johnny get angry? She's going to say, Ralphie, get angry. Ralphie, get mad. Give me the biggest lecture I ever had. We've been having a lot better times in our prayer. She comes and talks to me because she feels like a monster and a pervert by what the people at Fort Huachuca and video game developers did to her and how it affected her kiddos. And I'm like, you got good, tough kiddos, And they weren't the ones who developed the spyware equipment. And it's not even considered spyware equipment. It's considered, Motel Boulevard in Las Cruces, a public utility. Wi-Fi is considered a public utility. Okay. Yeah. By the video game developers from Silicon Valley that had to come in and save the army from getting their ass kicked by moi. It didn't work. Okay, still ain't working. Play the guitar on that MTV, it ain't working. That's the way you do it. Money for nothing, and your chicks for free. I got to get back to work on this thing. Once this is done, I'm working on ASU. I'm going to take Fort Lewis and Rio Grande Valley out of the mix. I'm going to put in ASU and one other team. I'm debating whether or not it will be Old Dominion or San Jose State. I ain't made up my mind yet. I'm probably leaning towards Old Dominion. I've done Old Dominion 100 times. San Jose State, probably about 10. Old Dominion, 100 times. Lots of times. But I don't know. We'll see. I'll make my mind up after I finish putting together and doing the stuff with a shoe. I've only done a shoe a couple of times, about 7, 8 times. I haven't done a shoe as much. Well, because it's a bigger school with lots of money and all that, but I got lots of people, and anybody going to San Antonio or Phoenix, Arizona, being mind-fucked by the worst perverts in the history of the world, and I wish I'd never known you, right? So, Earl, they have a virtual presence in your house, and your dreams are fucked because of their perception. You know them, whether you want to know them or not. That's horrible, I know. But you elected to have egotistical competition instead of stand up for the immaculate perfect faith of the Messiah, and you still stuck there. That's why Las Cruces, New Mexico is a ginormous cyberspace ego trap. It's always going dead. Okay. So, yeah, these guys, I used to watch them play football when I was raising kids, raising Cain. See, all these guys, the only one that, Mel's older than I is, right? Mike Singletary was playing for the, I was 19 in Super Bowl 20, I remember Cindy. She was our manager. She was from the New England area. She was a staunch Patriot fan. And I kept telling her everybody's kissing her butt. So, well, maybe they might win. I told her the bare facts. I was like, no, they ain't going to win at all. No. It's not even going to be really close. They're just going to get annihilated. But anybody who won the AFC this year was probably going to get destroyed by Chicago. They just have a really good team. They put it all together, and they made it without injuries to the Super Bowl. So it's going to be real hard for New England to to get much of anything done in that game. It's going to be just like, kind of like a scrimmage with the scout team. Basically what I told her. Oh, they're going to kill them. Okay. You're the only person that's ever told me that. That works here, right? Your family's told you the truth, haven't they? Okay. I just, Earl. It's like, Cindy, serious, man. It's the truth. I ain't going to lie to you. You put money on it? We'll go with half of your family that are diehard Patriot fans and say, well, there's irrational attachment, and then there's stupidity of business. And I'm going to go with the stupidity of business on this one and take advantage of your irrational attachment. Okay, thank you. Like I did with Sammy and Miss Blue Nails class at Mayfield. You're a traitor and all that. It's like, it has nothing to do with that, Miss Nail. It's just business. He bet me $50. I told him. Well, because his logic was, since Mayfield beat Gadsden and Cruces lost to Gadsden, that Mayfield should be able to beat Cruces by at least 2 touchdowns, right? I said, no, that's I said, first of all, they had different matchup problems at the thing in the game and stuff like that. Someone else was hurt, yada, yada, yada. I said, no. All Cruces is going to do is just line up and go over Segovia, okay, with Carrasco and Kinnison and Carrasco. He's going to do that, and then Mayfield's going to try to do this, and it's not going to work as well. And they have different matchup issues and problems than they do with Gadsden. So, yeah, I saw Gadsden play 4 or 5 times that year, 4 times. Okay, so they played Cruces. I saw the Cruces, Gadsden, and then I saw, I saw him play basketball twice that year too. But so it wasn't football, twice that year. But I've seen Gadsden play twice. And I was like, no, I told him, no. I saw that, I was like, no, I understand your logic. I told him, Sammy, I understand your logic. It's, you Parsons, you think you're so smart. No, it's just, and Cruces did. They beat him. And they did exactly what I said they were going to do. That's what they got to do. He just looked at his matchups and his, where he had mismatches, and that's what he did. And Cruces, the linebackers at Cruces did a little bit better job of containing Terry Fielder with the defensive stuff. And I don't know what the deal was with Stacey Gardner in that game. I can't remember. But or was he even playing? I don't know. And the LaFalls couldn't catch a cold. Okay. And I tried to explain to him how to catch a goddamn football, and they wouldn't listen. What do you know, white boy? And then all the Mexican guys, because he's faster than you. He's better than you. And then in flag football, yeah, he proved it to them all. Yeah, look at him. And all the Mexican guys, he's faster than the Negros. He's the fastest guy. They were right. All the Mexicans that bet money and I didn't get it because we tied, yeah, they were mad at me. But they were right. No. Earl, and they all thought I was Mexican because my dad looked Mexican. He's Mexican, and he's the fastest guy in all the city, probably all the state. I was the fastest guy in the whole country. Yes. And I am Mexican. Yeah. Because, remember what that sheriff in North Carolina on the USA Today? Yeah. Mexicans, all they do is work and make love. I'm a Mexican. Okay, guys? I love you, all right? Peace out.